Fast-paced, dramatic news music plays. Graphics flash. Breaking house hearing erupts. Narrator voiceover. This wasn't just another Washington hearing. This was political theater, a collision of facts and falsehoods, and right at the center, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, armed not just with a microphone, but with the kind of receipts that leave no room for spin. In less than 30 minutes, she would dismantle one of the GOP's most repeated talking points, the claim that America's defense is weaker than ever under the current administration. By the time she was done, the entire committee room would be frozen, and the cameras would capture every second. Scene 1, the setup. House Oversight Committee chamber. Camera pans across rows of lawmakers. Murmurs fill the air. Narrator. The topic on the table: national security readiness. Republicans had spent weeks painting a picture of an America too soft to face global threats. Representative Mark Caldwell, fictional GOP member, leans into the microphone, voice dripping with certainty. Caldwell: our armed forces are smaller, weaker, and more distracted than at any point in our history, and the American people know it. Some Republican members nod, papers shuffle. Narrator. It was a rehearsed. Line 1, the GOP had pushed on talk shows, rallies, and fundraising emails, but Jasmine Crockett wasn't buying it. Scene 2, Jasmine takes the mic. Camera zooms in on Jasmine Crockett, poised.com, scanning her notes before speaking. Crockett: Mr. Caldwell, I want to make sure I heard you correctly. You just claimed our military is weaker than at any point in our history. That's your official statement on the record. Caldwell: that's correct. Crockett pauses, leans forward. All right, let's talk facts. Scene 3, receipts on the table. Jasmine lifts a thick binder and places it on the desk with a solid thump. The sound echoes in the chamber. Crockett: according to the Department of Defense, not the media, not political commentators, but the Pentagon itself, the United States currently spends more on defense than the next 10 countries combined. Our Navy has 298 active ships, the same as when your party was in power just 4 years ago. Our Air Force fields over 5,200 aircraft, the largest in the world, and our nuclear deterrent, fully modernized, with upgrades approved on a bipartisan basis. Some members shift uncomfortably. Crockett: so in what universe does that equal weaker than at any point in history? Because unless you're comparing us to the Roman Empire, your math doesn't work. Laughter ripples from the audience seats. Caldwell stiffens. Scene 4, the first GOP pushback. Caldwell: you're cherry-picking numbers. Readiness isn't just about spending, Congresswoman. It's about morale, discipline, and Crockett cuts in firm. Morale? You mean the morale of service members whose pay raises you voted against last year? Discipline? Are you referring to the same armed forces you tried to politicize by inserting culture war amendments into the defense bill? Gasps from the audience. Camera flashes. Narrator: Crockett wasn't just countering talking points. She was forcing the GOP to explain why their rhetoric didn't match their voting record. Scene 5. The visual evidence. Jasmine clicks a remote. A massive screen behind her lights up with charts and photos. Crockett: let's make this visual. Here's a chart of military readiness levels from 2016 to today, your years in power included. Notice that readiness actually improved in 3 of the last 4 years. And here's a photo taken last month. The USS Gerald, our Ford carrier, strike group on deployment in the Mediterranean, fully manned, fully operational. She advances the slide again, a bar graph showing NATO allies increasing their defense budgets. Crockett: even our allies are stronger now. NATO defense spending is up 18% since 2020. That's called deterrence, not weakness. Scene 6, GOP's second attempt. Representative Linda Havers, another GOP member, jumps in. Havers: you're ignoring the fact that recruitment numbers are down. That's a clear sign of weakness. Crockett, without missing a beat: actually, recruitment shortfalls have been an issue for decades, including under Republican presidents. But let's be honest, young Americans aren't discouraged because of the strength of our forces. They're discouraged when they see lawmakers, you included, insult their service by calling them woke for wanting equal treatment in uniform. Audience murmurs grow louder. Havers glares. Scene 7, the mic drop fact. Crockett: here's the truth you don't want to admit. You need the weakness narrative because it's a campaign tool. You want Americans to believe we're falling apart so you can pose as the saviors, but facts aren't on your side. This administration has passed the largest veteran healthcare expansion in decades, restored global alliances your party undermined, and invested in next-generation defense tech, hypersonics, cyber defense, space command. Weakness? That's a lie. And I'll say it plainly, a lie told for political gain. Camera catches GOP members shifting, whispering, avoiding eye contact. Scene 8. The room reacts, audience claps softly despite committee rules, chair gavels to restore order. Narrator. The tension was electric. Crockett had just stripped the talking point bare on live TV. The GOP members tried to recover, but every new angle only fed her case. Scene 9. The final strike. Rocket. If we were truly weaker than at any point in history, why did the GOP just approve a defense budget larger than any in our nation's history? Why did you fund new carrier groups, new missile defense systems, and more overseas bases? The truth is, you believe in our strength when it's convenient, and you pretend we're weak when you want a headline. She closes her binder, leans back, and the room is dead silent. Scene 10. AFTER mate. HN. IRRAT. Clips of Crockett's exchange went viral within hours. Hashtags like #FactsOverFear and #CrockettClapback trended nationwide. Cable networks replayed her rebuttal in split screen with GOP speeches from the past year, the contrast impossible to ignore. Political analysts called it the most decisive dismantling of a committee talking point in recent memory. And Jasmine Crockett, she walked out of that chamber the same way she walked in, calm, steady, and absolutely certain that truth still matters, even in the noisiest room in Washington. Outro call to action. Orator in politics. Strength isn't about volume, it's about verifiable facts. And on that day, in that hearing, Jasmine Crockett proved that no amount of spin can survive the truth.